place of emptiness. In a small, weathered hut at the edge of a vast, ancient forest lived an old woman named Arya, all alone. Though her possessions were few and her clothes were worn, Arya possessed a heart that was always overflowing with genuine thankfulness. She found joy in the simplest things, believing that every new day was a precious gift to be cherished and celebrated. While others in the village complained about what they lacked, Arya spent her time appreciating the beauty of the natural world. Many people pitied her poverty, yet they did not understand that she felt richer than the wealthiest kings in the land. One crisp autumn morning, Arya took her woven basket and headed into the deep woods to gather mushrooms and wild herbs. The forest was her sanctuary, a place where she felt the deepest connection to the earth and the rhythm of life. However, on this particular day, the forest seemed unusually quiet and barren, offering none of the treasures she usually found there. Hours passed as she wandered deeper into the woods, but her basket remained as light and empty as when she started. For most people, an empty basket after a long day of hard work would be a cause for frustration and anger. Arya simply sat on a mossy stone, closed her eyes, and decided to rest her weary legs for a brief moment. Instead of complaining about her bad luck, she looked at the empty space in her basket and whispered a strange gratitude. She smiled warmly and said aloud, "Thank you for this empty basket, for it is light and easy to carry home." Because the basket was not heavy with goods, she decided to take the longer, scenic route back to her small cottage. This path was rarely traveled, winding through dense thickets and over bubbling brooks that sang songs of the ancient wild forest. Suddenly, a faint and pained sound broke the silence, stopping Arya in her tracks as she listened to the quiet forest. Pushing aside the heavy branches, she found a man lying on the ground, dressed in fine clothes, but looking terribly injured. He was a wealthy merchant who had gone hunting and lost his way, falling from a ridge and breaking his leg. If her basket had been full and heavy, she would have taken the short path home and never found him here. Arya realized that the emptiness of her basket was the very reason she was in the right place to save a life. She offered him the last drops of her water and used her walking stick to help the injured man stand up. With great difficulty and patience, she supported his weight, guiding him slowly back to the safety of her humble little cottage. She gave him her own bed and prepared a soothing poultice from the few dried herbs she had stored in jars. For 3 days and nights, she nursed the stranger with the last of her food, never asking for anything in return. The merchant observed her kindness and was deeply moved by how she gave so freely, despite having so little for herself. When he asked why she was so happy, despite her poverty, she simply told him about the blessing of the empty basket. She explained that if her basket had been full, she would have missed the opportunity to help a fellow human being. The merchant revealed his true identity and promised that he would repay her kindness in a way she could never imagine. His servants eventually found the cottage to take him home, and he left Arya with a promise to return very soon. Arya returned to her simple life, not expecting a reward, for her heart was already full from the act of giving. A month later, and the quiet of the forest was broken by the arrival of a grand carriage stopping before her gate. The merchant stepped out, fully healed and dressed in fine silks, bringing with him gifts of food, warm clothes, and gold. Arya gently refused the gold, telling him that she had enough to eat and a roof over her head to sleep. The merchant smiled, knowing her answer, and told her that he had brought a different gift, one that gold could not buy. From the carriage stepped a young woman, her eyes filled with tears as she looked toward the old woman standing there. Arya dropped her basket in disbelief, for standing before her was her long-lost daughter, who had been missing for many years. The merchant had used his vast resources and connections to track down Arya's daughter, bringing them back together for a reunion. Watching them hold each other, As the merchant realized that this act of gratitude was the most valuable transaction of his life, the little cottage, once quiet and lonely, was now filled with the warm sounds of laughter, family, and a bright future. Arya looked at her daughter and then at the merchant, her heart swelling with a gratitude that words could never express. The empty basket lay on the floor, no longer a symbol of lack, but a vessel that had created space for miracles. She hung the old woven basket on her wall as a constant reminder that sometimes emptiness is just an invitation for abundance. Her old age was spent in comfort and joy, surrounded by the love of her daughter and the friendship of the merchant. The wealthy merchant visited often, learning from Arya that true wealth is not what you keep, but what you give away. Arya's face, once marked by the weariness of solitude, now glowed with the radiant light of a life fully and beautifully lived. This story teaches us that gratitude is not just a reaction to good things, but a power that creates good things. When we learn to be thankful for what we have, or even for what we lack, we open the door to magic. Remember that a closed heart cannot receive, just as a full basket cannot gather new treasures from the path of life. Let your heart remain open like an empty basket, ready to receive the unexpected blessings that the universe has prepared for you. Every challenge carries a hidden gift, and every empty moment is a space waiting to be filled with love and purpose. So the next time you find yourself with empty hands, do not despair, but look around for the hidden opportunity to serve. Gratitude turns what we have into enough, and more. It turns denial into acceptance, chaos into order, and confusion into clarity. Arya's legacy was not of wealth or power, but of a simple, unwavering trust that life is always working in her favor. May you find the courage to thank your empty baskets, and may they lead you to your own miracles and reunions. Life is a beautiful journey of losing and finding, and gratitude is the compass that guides us through the darkest woods. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We hope Arya's story inspires you to look at your life with new eyes. If this story touched your heart, please share it with someone who might need a reminder of the power of gratitude. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories that heal the soul and uplift the human spirit every week.